We're just now beginning a totally new section here at ETHDenver today. I'm David Waxman. I'm your MC for the next few hours, and I'm thrilled to introduce some really exciting shows for the audience here, which has grown over these last few days. Really excited. First up, we've got Aaron Ahmadi from Incognito Chain. Aaron is head of comms, and he's got lots to tell us about how Incognito is paving the way for the future. Aaron, I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you so much, David. Can you guys hear me all right? Well, I guess you can't respond.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, great. Okay. By the way, I love that chair. That was a beautiful chair. Okay, so like he said, I handle communication at Incognito. And to put it simply, Incognito is privacy for all of Ethereum. And so just imagine entering incognito mode for all of your interactions with the Ethereum blockchain and beyond. So Chucky is here. He's sharing. Chucky is the the community lead at Incognito, and he's the one sharing the presentation. So I'm going to frequently refer to him for changing slides. Chucky, would you mind full screening and then going to the second slide for me? Okay, thank you. All right, so essentially, Incognito noticed something, right? We noticed what the rest of the world noticed, which is cryptocurrency. Everyone is watching crypto, including traditional finance, right? So PayPal, these are old headlines, even more has happened since then, but PayPal has started to allow Bitcoin and crypto spending. DeFi markets exploded last year. Chase Bank, JP Morgan Chase, talked about the importance of Bitcoin and how it's going to compete with gold. And even this year, we have things like Elon Musk, right? Tesla jumping into Bitcoin with a $1.5 billion investment. So there are a lot of eyes on crypto right now. And would you mind jumping to the next slide, Chucky? Sorry about this, guys. I don't have a screen share button on my browser for some reason. Chucky, would you go to the third slide? Thanks. So the thing about everybody watching crypto is that with more eyes comes more surveillance, right? So if the entire world is watching, that means regulators are watching, thieves are watching, and so you have surveillance in places like China and the US where government is getting serious, right? Like this headline says about tracking crypto. There was a Decrypt article talking about using the Ethereum name service to track over 133,000 Ethereum names and like the addresses associated with people using Ethereum. I myself on Twitter the other day saw a few people I follow have their addresses. Now these were Bitcoin addresses like Pomp publicly released. And so it's a problem that's growing. The more attention that crypto and DeFi get, the worse it becomes to participate in them. At least the less safe it becomes, right? So what Incognito does is we created, at its core level, a transactional privacy to solve that problem, right? So would you go to the fourth slide, Chucky? Excuse me. Right. So at its most basic level, this is what Incognito does. Somebody wants to send, let's say 1.5 Ethereum to their friend Bob. Right now, all of that is public on the Ethereum blockchain. You can see it, right? It might not have their name attached, but with the metadata that's available and with some chain analysis, right, it's not that difficult to figure out. So you have a completely public transaction. Everybody knows what you're spending your crypto on, who you're interacting with. But with an incognito transaction, all you know is that someone sent some amount of some asset somewhere, right? So it becomes a completely black box. And off of that layer, that initial transactional privacy, we were able to build privacy for essentially every facet of Ethereum and DeFi. So go ahead and click to the next slide. before that. Thank you. Right. So this is what it would look like, or what it does look like. Excuse me. If you are a bearded man with glasses, then you're going to enter the Incognito sidechain with your 5 Ethereum, let's say, and then you become a black and white bearded man with glasses. You transact on the Incognito sidechain. Everything in that gray box labeled 1, 2, 3 essentially just becomes blacked out. Nobody can know what's happening in there except you. All of the records are stored locally on your device accessible with your private keys, which you hold, nobody else holds. And then once you exit, suddenly you appear later on down the Ethereum blockchain with a different amount of, say, Ether, right? If you never left the Incognito sidechain, then essentially you just disappear from the Ethereum blockchain. So what Incognito does is it acts as a layer 2 solution to privacy. You don't have to give up your Ethereum or stop using any of the platforms you like. You just add it to what you already have, and then you don't have to worry about privacy. You don't have to worry about, I don't know how regulators are going to make up their mind in the future in the US, but people in other countries don't have to worry about, oppressive governments. But privacy is not just about escaping authoritarian regimes, right? In the everyday, privacy becomes important for anyone in finance, right? If you're a trader, whether you're a firm or you go solo, you don't want everybody knowing, what assets you hold, how much, and how often you trade. You probably have proprietary trading strategies. But even down to the individual level, your bank account is private, and what your amounts in your bank account, what you spend on, only you and your bank know that. But with Ethereum DeFi, it becomes a lot more transparent on the blockchain. And because it's not centralized, there's no bank to shield you from anyone else looking in. Now, a bank is its own problem. So Incognito took, that kind of core decentralization promise of blockchain and the security and privacy of a centralized banking system, and put all the power back in your hands to give you that privacy so that you don't have to, whether you're spending it on baby formula or condoms, nobody knows except you. And then with things like tax compliance, all of that is still accessible because you have access to your records, but no one else does. So ultimately, what Incognito is doing is not just solving privacy and giving you security and safety, because banks already do that, but they're giving you control over that. It's not, a mixer for Ethereum where you don't have any control over your privacy. It's just shaking everything up for you. With Incognito, it's kind of opt-in, opt-out, but it's privacy across the board with records and everything. So would you mind going to the next slide, Chucky? So this is how we achieve it. A short overview, of course, of our privacy stack. Basically, Incognito is taking the best parts of Monero and applying it to all of the infinite possibilities of Ethereum 2.0. So we take, ring signatures, which is something that Monero does, and we use that to shield the sending address. We take stealth addresses, which is a strategy we use to shield the receiving address. So now you don't know either person on both sides of the transaction. We use a strategy called confidential transactions to shield the transaction amounts. So you don't know how much is being sent. And that gets broken off into, homomorphic commitments and zero knowledge range proofs, which essentially means that any currency, whether it's Ethereum or any ERC20 token you want to use, with Incognito becomes like a ZK coin, right? So Incognito's privacy stack basically takes the Monero level privacy and applies that to your sending, your receiving, your trading, right? So you can buy and sell crypto privately, your investing, and anything you do with DeFi, borrowing, lending, right? So that's our privacy. But next slide, Chucky, please. Even if we have the tech, we have to be able to support the users, right? So it's important to be scalable. Now, for scalability, Incognito is a proof of stake blockchain. It's a sharded proof of stake blockchain. And we're developing something right now called dynamic sharding, which enables the blockchain to essentially expand and contract based on usership, right? So the shards increase to support the amount of users we have. It's kind of like a set of lungs, right? Breathing and expanding in and contracting back. So sharding is how we achieve currently 100 transactions per second throughput, but that's able to expand further in the future, right? And then practical Byzantine fault tolerance, that's that PBFT, and BLS signatures, that is what allows the chain to be resilient, to support growing. Right now we have, I believe, 2,600 validators on the network staking, but in the future, the chain can support, I believe, up to 16,500 roughly validating at any time to support transactions. So it's incredibly malleable and can grow very wide as far as throughput. And then the other thing that makes Incognito a little bit different from other proof of stake blockchains is that we rely on a large network of validators with a small amount of equal influence. There's a set staking amount that everybody has equal say over the network, right? Rather than having a large, powerful, a small group of large, powerful validators, we rely on a large group of small validators. Okay, go ahead and jump on. I apologize for talking very quickly, guys. I want to respect your time and also, leave some space for the latency with the screen share. Okay, so for Ethereum-based assets alone, Incognito has, since its launch about a year ago, seen $35.5 million worth of ETH and ERC20 tokens. So shielding obviously is kind of like wrapping your assets, right? You're turning your Ethereum or ERC20 tokens anonymous, basically. Go ahead and jump to the next slide. So he's got a little disfigured, I sent a keynote presentation. That was my bad. Incognito basically, the way it accomplishes this privacy with Ethereum is by relying on some core cross-chain instructions, right? We build bridges between Incognito and Ethereum. We have a decentralized, a trustless bridge between Incognito and Ethereum. We call it Portal. And that bridge relies on 5 instructions. There's shield, unshield, deploy, undeploy, and execute. And essentially what that means is you have a shielding instruction to send currency from Ethereum to Incognito. Unshield sends it the reverse direction. Deploy initiates an action. Undeploy obviously does the opposite. And then execute executes on a smart contract, right? So a bridge then, the next term, it's what we've built to connect the two, right? It's our form of interoperability. It's a two-way trustless bridge between Incognito and Ethereum that consists of multiple relayers, right? There are these agents that forward instructions, these 5 shield, unshield, etc. instructions between the two blockchains. So that's our bridge. The broker then is one of those relayers, right? It's a smart contract on Ethereum that receives instructions from Incognito, verifies them, and then redirects them to the suitable dApps on Ethereum. Now, think about that for a second. So the broker takes these instructions from the Incognito blockchain and then forwards them to the corresponding dApp. That means that you can have privacy for any smart contract or any decentralized application built on Ethereum. So one instance of this you'll see later is we've already integrated, for example, Uniswap, right? And all 3.5 trillion or billion or however much liquidity they have. Excuse me. All of that can be accessed completely anonymously. You can trade with Uniswap privately. Okay, so yeah, next slide, please, Chucky. Great. So this is kind of a visual example of shielding your Ethereum. So let's say you take 1 ETH, right? That will be that will go through the smart contract broker, right? And it will give instruction a shield instruction to the bridge. On that bridge, the relayers will then forward that shield instruction to the Incognito blockchain. Incognito blockchain will mint a privacy Ethereum coin. It will hold in the smart contract your original Ethereum coin until you decide to unshield, and it will always release 1 Ethereum for 1 P Ethereum, privacy Ethereum. So your rate of exchange for privacy coins and standard coins is always 1-to-1, and those are held in a decentralized, trustless fashion by smart contracts. Go ahead and hit the next slide. Perfect. The same thing in the opposite form if you want to unshield. When you're done with privacy, you want to go back to the Ethereum blockchain. The Incognito chain will burn the privacy token, send the unshield instruction to the bridge. The bridge will then send the unshield instruction to the broker. The broker will release your Ethereum back to whatever address you've input for your sending. So all it is a send and receive transaction, but this is the way that the tech works behind it. So you don't even have to unshield to the same address you sent from. The broker will release the Ethereum, whatever amount, doesn't even have to be the same amount, whatever amount of privacy Ethereum you've burned, that amount of regular Ethereum will be released to any address you choose on the Ethereum blockchain, right? So it transfers it. It can be ERC20 tokens or Ethereum itself. Next slide, please. Perfect. Now, if you are using a decentralized application, on Incognito, we call those privacy apps, P apps, right? But it's the same process. Instead of shield and unshield, this is going to be deploy, undeploy. So the privacy app on Incognito will issue a deploy instruction across the bridge that will go to the smart contract, and the smart contract executes on the Ethereum blockchain, which essentially means you can interact directly with the Ethereum blockchain from the Incognito blockchain without ever touching it. So you can remain completely anonymous while you trade with Uniswap, while you trade with Kyber, while you use any of these dApps that you like. Okay, let's go to the next slide. We're running out of time here, so I'm just going to say it's essentially the same process for the rest of these. And if you want more information, I can show you where to find that at the end. Let's skip this slide, please, Chucky. And again. Okay, so like I said, yeah, Uniswap and Kyber have already been integrated, and there are actually quite a few others that have as well. But the point here is just to show that anything built on Ethereum can be integrated with Incognito's privacy, or I should say Incognito's privacy can be integrated with anything on Ethereum. So as you go forward in the rest of this conference and you learn about new projects, new products, or you think about things you want to build yourself, all of that is applicable when it comes to privacy. So you don't have to sacrifice privacy just because there's some cool tech on Ethereum you want to use. Those two things can always go together. You can always, here, actually, go ahead and skip forward past Kyber. One more. One more. And another. Okay, well, let's stop here for a second. Yeah, trading volume. So Incognito essentially has an app, but it's not our only product, of course. But in that app, you have a privacy DEX, a decentralized exchange with which you can trade anonymously. We have an investment feature where you can add liquidity. We'll be creating some lending features in the near future. And up till now, since its launch, in Ethereum and ERC20 tokens alone, the PDEX has experienced about 60 million worth of trading volume. Go ahead, Chucky.
All right. Oh, sorry, Aaron. I'll let you.
I'll finish it up real quick in 30 seconds. I apologize for running over the time. So to sum up, essentially, Incognito is privacy for everything on Ethereum. It's programmable privacy. So if you want to build something, you have smart contracts, you're building a decentralized application, think about applying privacy to that. And if you want more information, you can find more at our active forum, we.incognito.org. There's thousands of users there and resources as well that will support you.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
And that was fantastic. We learned a lot about how to go and make regular use of the Ethereum network a lot more private today.